19, the word uncleanness. What does that mean? And I've got my Greek dictionary right up here. I'm going to read from you what the Greek word is, akatharasi, which means a moral sense, the impurity of lustful living. It's also sexual.
Yep.
Just living a racy lifestyle.
Yep.
That's a feeling you've got to avoid. Then notice the next word, lasciviousness. Boy, that's a big old word. Can y'all say that out loud? Lasciviousness. Lasciviousness. The Greek word is esgelgia, which means, are you listening to this? Unbridled, excessive licentiousness, wantonness, outrageousness, shamelessness. Just living any old way you want to.
Vulgar.
Vulgar lifestyle.
Yeah.
Vulgar lifestyle. Doing everything but intercourse. This is plain teaching. But you know why it's plain? Because we need to let our young people, and we need to, all you listen to me, I know we're in 127 nations of the world, you have all kind of cultural differences, but you need to know what the Bible said evil is. You listening? Hey, one of our biggest stations is in a retirement village in South Florida. You folks need to understand what evil is and what God expects with our sexual promiscuousness and sexual purity. He wants us to be pure. No matter what age you are, He wants us to be pure. And the first four feelings are all about sex. Adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness has to do with sex. God put it first. Why? I wrote in a response to a Facebook comment, and boy, did I get lambasted. I'm in a pseudonym, so hopefully they don't know who I am. But there was a young girl, 12 years old, going to Fort Mill Middle School here in our neck of the woods, and she was upset because they called 3 times and said that her dress was not appropriate for school. And she had on leggings without a top, that didn't cover her behind. And so they sent her home and said, you need to change your clothes. Then she came back up with some more tight yoga pants without a top that went down to cover her. Let me tell you something, parents. Why would you allow a 12, 13, 16, 17-year-old girl to dress so promiscuously when you know you've got 45, 13 to 15-year-old boys whose hormones are raging, who are thinking impure thoughts, and that's your daughter? You want her to be a lust object? Oh boy, it got quiet in the house. And so I wrote on there, I said, you got to understand why. There's common decency, and young boys who are red-blooded American males are going through the most tumultuous time of their life in puberty, and they don't need the temptation of another attractive, shapely girl with revealing clothes. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
And I got lambasted. Oh my goodness, I got lambasted. Oh, you're gender something, and it's only for the girls. Well, listen. Fact of the matter is, boys get 90% of their stimulation by what they see. Girls only get 10. That's a psychological fact. So here, girls, let me say it plainly. If you're not for sale, don't advertise.
Amen.
Amen.
It's evil. It's a feeling of evil. Licentiousness, lasciviousness. Look at verse 20. 17, idolatry. Anything that exalts itself above Christ is a feeling of sin.
Amen.
Listen, whether that happens to be your car, your girlfriend, your checkbook, or your religion. Don't worship me. Don't worship any preacher. Don't think that your preacher is some almighty guy. He's not. He's just a man given the same passions that you are. We're just all of us sinners been saved by grace, and we found bread telling other beggars where they can find bread. Can I hear an amen?
Amen. Amen.
Don't you put your mom as an idol. Don't you put your grandma as an idol. Don't you put your sports team as an idol. That's a feeling that leads to sin.
That's right.
Then notice something else, and this is one that we need to look at, verse 20, the word witchcraft. The word witchcraft is the Greek word, let's see if you can hear it, pharmakia. What do you hear when I say pharmakia?
Pharmacy.
Pharmacy. Here's the Greek definition of the word witchcraft. The original meaning was the use or the administrating of drugs, sorcery, magical arts, the deception of drugs.
America, beat up with it.
What is the leading thing that everybody's talking about right now? Opioids, painkillers, antidepressants. People get hooked on meth. They get hooked on Rofi. They get hooked on all, I don't even know the names of them. All these drugs that the legal pill pushers prescribe.
Yeah. Doctors do it.
Who's that talking about? Medical doctors. The average person only goes to a medical doctor when they know they can't treat it with naturals or over the counter, so they go to the drug dealer so they can get some real drugs.
Yeah. But it's legal.
Hey, I read statistically 75% of all visits to the doctor, are you listening, are psychosomatic. They're not real. They feel bad. They feel bad, so they need to get something to help them feel better. Have you ever said that? I feel so bad. I need to go to the doctor. I need to feel better. Feel. Do you hear it? Feelings.
Yeah.
Witchcraft. When you're feeling bad, Satan has a demon called pharmakia, and he'll be sure and help you feel better.
Dope you up.
Man, it got quiet in the tabernacle today. I'm glad that the editor's at a different place, so she can't figure out how to cut that out. Pharmakia, witchcraft. Notice the next one, hatred. That word hatred is an interesting Greek word. It's ekthra, which means enmity. It means strife. It means just wanting to argue. Hatred. We live in the most divided America since the Civil War. And it's divided. It used to be black-white. I told you that story. Then, now it's everything. It's homosexual, lesbian, gay, transgender against normal. Oh, I said it. LGTB is not normal.
That's right.
Heterosexual male and women, that's normal.
Amen.
That's what God created. This mess over here is a feeling that comes from Satan himself. And we live in a life and death. We're divided over life and death. Abortion versus living. I don't understand how people can even debate that issue anymore. Now, back in 1973, we didn't have ultrasounds. We didn't have 3D ultrasounds. We didn't have technology that we have now. Science has proven that a baby is a baby at the moment of conception. And if you kill that baby, I don't care if you have an MD behind your name, you are a murderer.
Amen.
God's going to judge you.
And we have all these divisions. Democrats and Republicans, has there ever been such a divisive between the two? You say, I'm so sick of it. Well, you better not get sick of it, because we've got to stay in the fight. But those are feelings.
Amen.
Listen, Donald Trump isn't right on everything. And he sure isn't a statesman. That's for sure. But God put him where he's at, and he's doing a great job leading our country, and it's caused so much division. But on the other side of the coin, I'm not going to fight you if you don't believe Donald Trump should be president. That's your prerogative. You can believe that stupidity if you want to. And by the same token, don't fight me because I have a different ideology. That's what this is, this hatred, and it leads to the next word, variance. The word variance means debaters. I very seldom post on Facebook because every time I do, I get all this deluge of trash and tell me how terrible I am and how low I am and how stupid I am and all. And my temptation is to say something back. Right here. That's a feeling. a debate. My mom used to say, son, you'd argue with a signboard. Yeah? Variance. Notice the next one, the feelings of the flesh, the feelings of sin. Emulations. Now, I wondered what that word meant, so I looked it up. The word emulations is the Greek word zelos. Zeal. And listen to the, you say, what's wrong with having enthusiasm? What's wrong with being zealous for your cause? Well, listen to the description. Excuse me. It means an excitement of the mind, a fervor of the spirit, embracing and pursuing and defending anything. The fierceness of indignation and envious and contentious rivalry, jealousy. Emulations are people tearing down Confederate monuments because of their ignorance. It's history, folks. Good, bad, or ugly. Leave it alone. But because of emulations, we have people wanting to rewrite history or put it into its own little place somewhere where nobody ever goes. If you believe in the cause of the Civil War, then amen. But if you didn't believe and you think it was a terrible race situation, at least see the statue to be reminded what happens if we don't stay united. But leave it alone. Emulation. Just so jealous, so envious, that they'll kill you for your tennis shoes. Girls will put you on social media and do all types of evil against you just because they're jealous of your pocketbook or they're jealous of your boyfriend. That's what that word emulation means. It's a feeling. Watch out for it. Then notice something else. It says seditions. Now, when I see seditions, I think the old meaning. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Verse 20, excuse me. Idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulation. Look at the word wrath. Wrath. That word wrath comes from the Greek word thymos, which means an angry spirit boiling up and letting loose. We see mass murderers today. They're either one of two things. They're either demon-possessed and have no conscience, or they're so angry that they take out their frustrations on somebody else. Hello?
That's right.
That's anger. That's wrath. Strife. Again, that's the spirit of debate. Seditions. Interesting word. Interesting word. Seditions means, it's a long Greek word, dikastasia, and it means to cause division on purpose. Hello, George Soros. That's you. Hello, Bill Clinton. That's you. Hello, Bernie Sanders. That's you. Hello. AOC. That's you. And don't we have it in our families too? People who deliberately try to cause strife at family reunions. Children who are mad because mama gave one of them more than the other, and so they cause strife in the family. Terrible. Heresies has to do with false doctrine and trying to, it says the act of taking, capture, storming a city, that which is chosen. And now listen carefully. A body of men following their own tenets as doctrine. Heresy. That's the Catholic Church. Hello. That's the Mormons. That's the Jehovah's False Witnesses. That's the Christian Science movement. That's the Wiccans. Are you listening? Is anybody listening?
Oh, yeah, we hear you.
All right, then the next word, 17 feelings. Envyings, murdering, drunkenness. Do I need to give you the definition of those? Those are feelings that hurt. Now notice this next one. Reveling. The word reveling, I want to read it to you. It is a carousal. It is a nighttime riotous procession of half-drunken, frolicsome fellows who, after a parade through the streets with torches and music in honor of Bacchus, the drunk god, or some other false deity, sing and play from house to house with male and female friends. Hence, it generally is used of drunken feasts and parties that last well into the morning. If that is not a picture of the modern American college life, bar scene. Hello? And what's so sad, Fred, is Christians are now going to clubs as much as non-Christians. Can I tell you what broke my heart the other day? I saw his picture, and know it's real when Photoshop snuffed it out. Jerry Falwell Jr. went to Orlando to one of the biggest nightclubs and was there with his son and their daughter-in-law at a club. Jerry Falwell Sr. started Moral Majority. Jerry Falwell Jr. is in the club. And he made this statement. He's the president of Liberty University. His brother, Jonathan Falwell, is the pastor of Thompson Church. Jerry Falwell Jr. is a trained lawyer. And he made this statement: I never claimed to be a preacher. I am a businessman who happens to lead the largest university in the world, which is true. But do you see how we've fallen? There was a time if you went to a club at Liberty University, you would be expelled and sent off campus, and now the president of the university's club. That's sad, y'all. That's sad. And when I look around and see all these so-called Christians whose heritage is fundamental and evangelical and separated and godly people, and now their children are leading movements that are revelings.
Yep.
What's happened? I'll tell you what's happened. We need to be delivered from evil.
Amen.
And that evil are these 17 feelings. How do you get rid of this? I told you it's the hardest one. But the answer is in verse 15. We said that you overcome the fact of evil, Satan himself, by pleading. You overcome the face of evil by fleeing. You overcome the feelings of evil. Are you listening? Here's the hard part. By living the Spirit-filled life. Look at verse 15. But if you verse 16. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and you will not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Look down at verse 22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. That word temperance means self-control. If we practice those nine fruits of the Spirit, and we walk in the Spirit, then we won't fulfill the lust of the flesh. If you're walking in the Spirit, you're not going to have the temptation to have bestiality or homosexuality or some perverted sexual sin. Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
If you're walking in the Spirit, you're not going to want to drink wine or drink beer or get drunk or go to a tailgate party where it's excessive revel. You're not going to want to go to a concert where it's all soulish and fleshly music. Boom, 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 boom. Not if you're walking in the Spirit.
That's right.
Walk in the Spirit.
Amen.
We used to sing a little song at camp. It says, I'm determined to live in the Spirit, in the Spirit, in the Spirit, in the Spirit, in the Spirit of the Lord. Here's the key. God told me I could, if only I would. I'm determined to live in the Spirit of the Lord.
Amen.
Man, we taught that to the young people at camp. We need to teach that to the adults today.
That's right.
How do you avoid these feelings? You overcome the feelings of evil by walking in the Spirit, and love overcomes it all.
That's right.
Evil's primary emotion is fear, and the antidote to fear is love. In 1 John chapter number 4, the Bible said in verse 18 and 21, notice this, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear hath torment.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about getting caught with another woman if you ain't with one.
That's right.
Amen.
You don't have to worry about getting drunk if you don't take the first drink.
Amen.
Amen.
See, if you love Jesus, remember, deliver us, the word deliver, first one, relationship. If you love Jesus and you tell him or ask him in your prayers, deliver us from evil, then you won't want to fulfill the lust of the flesh. And perfect love casts out all fear. You don't have the fear of getting caught if you didn't do it.
Amen.
Can I hear an amen?
Amen.
First, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and love, and a sound mind. You see the difference?
Amen.
We've got to learn as best we can, Romans chapter 12, verse 21, be not overcome of evil, but overcome evil with good.
Amen.
We overcome the fact of evil, the person of evil, by pleading. We overcome the face of evil by fleeing. We overcome the feelings of evil by living in the Spirit. It's my prayer that as we conclude this sermon next week, this series on learning to pray like Jesus, that we will ask Him to deliver us
Amen.
from evil. Next week we get to close with a crescendo. Lord, thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Father, keep us from the wicked one. Keep us from the wicked ones. And God, keep us from the wicked works of the flesh. Help us to walk in the Spirit, not fulfill the lust of the flesh, but to manifest the love, joy, peace, gentleness, goodness, meekness, long-suffering, and of course, temperance, self-control, the fruits of the Spirit. Help us, Lord, to love and to overcome evil by doing good. In Jesus' name, amen. Let's stand.